Hi everyone. I got some comments about the likeness and details in some of my videos on YouTube, and I answered some. When I paint Alla Prima, I choose a photo and I got like 2-3 hours in one session, so I want to be done with that. I don't focus so much about the likeness. It would take so much more time. For me it's more about how I approach my drawing, values and colors. So the photo is just reference, and I design my painting how I want. There is no rank about doing exactly perfect drawing and painting, but I don't have that time. So in this video I choose a photo, I will show you later. And after a while, actually my iPad battery is dying, so I paint sometimes only from imagination. I just look at the photo and I just memorize where the lights come from, and I build my value from the darkest to the lightest. In this video I start sketching with raw umber, which is my favorite color to start my sketching with. And here I just add titanium white to add a few more values. So I want to isolate light from the dark shapes and just keep it really simple in the beginning, really flat shapes. Even there is a few different values, but I want to keep it abstract, dark and light. This stage for me take a lot of time because I work also on my drawing at the same time and adjusting some values. So when I got somehow right and I'm happy with that, I add more colors. But be patient when you paint. Focus first on drawing and then on values before the colors. Think about charcoal drawing or pencil drawing. There is only one color, but you can do a realistic drawing with that. It's how values work. So it's not so much about the colors. I dark it down a little bit more so my light shape pump out. There is part 1, only 3 minutes of this video, of this painting, because it would be too long if I put it all together, and there is one more coming soon. I tried to do it in 3 different parts. So now I basically work on the drawing and values at the same time. As you can see, I add red and yellow, cadmium red and yellow ochre, and now I add colors on the top of my values. I try to show really simple how I approach my Alla Prima painting, so I hope it's easy to understand the steps. I have to mention I'm not considering me as a teacher. Even I teach and I have classes, I am still in the progress and I'm learning. So every time I paint, I learn new things. Color mixing is another session itself, and it takes time, really long time to master color mixing. So if you are a beginner, I would suggest you focus more on the drawing. So if your drawing is good, focus on the values before mixing colors. In my classes, people who haven't painted before, they focus only on colors. They say, oh, this is beautiful colors, I bought so many pigments. But in reality, in my opinion, the best way to learn, keep it really simple. You don't need to have as many colors as you think. You need only the primary colors and white and black. I use umber instead of black, but you can use black too. The good practice to learning values, to master the values, just with black and white. Go from the darkest to the lightest, and you can have as many values as you want. But in a portrait painting, I believe 4 or 5 values is enough. I still work on flat shapes, not so many details. Even this video it's almost 20 minutes, but half of the time actually I just mix my colors. When I build my shapes, so I build them a little bit bigger I paint them bigger, and by another value and another color I just narrowing down the shapes, and in the end I can add my details and highlights. Painting journey is new for me. I started paint almost 10 years ago, and I went to an art school 3 years, 2014 to until 2017, Florence Academy of Art. So I start my journey from the scratch. I didn't have any experience, but I did put a lot of time to learn and still learning. Florence Academy of Art, it's a traditional school. They use a lot of the old masters technique. I would suggest Charles Barg drawing course. You can just Google it and find it on. There is PDF you can download and look at his drawings. It's really simple explained how to approach a drawing, but to master it, it takes time. It needs so much work around the edges. Basically, from the edges you can model your shapes. So it's not the colors itself, it's the edges. Around the mouth, eyes. I don't start my drawing or painting with details. Some people do it, some artists do it, and they are good at it. The problem with that, when something goes wrong, it's so hard to move things around, the small shapes. So what I do, I start very big, almost 2 shapes, dark and light, and I can see it in bigger pictures if something is off, so I can just move it really simple because it's just 2 shapes. And from there I just narrow it down to smaller and smaller shapes. You can do a color mixing from the beginning and just use them on your painting. I do sometimes pre-mixing and adjust from there. At this edge I used turpentine. I dropped my brush in the turpentine and wanted to mix it with the background a little bit. So I just adjusting some angles of the right shapes at the right side, on the right side. In the next part I am gonna talk about some warm and cold colors, but in this part I just use actually warm colors. As you saw, that was my photo reference for this painting. I didn't put it in the whole video. I wasn't sure about some regulations. Even I asked the page owner, if it was okay to use it as a reference for painting. So if you are scared about copyright, just ask the page owner or the photographer. If it's okay, you can use their photos for painting. I ask a lot of people and nobody's saying no. Actually, everybody's happy to just be painted from their photo or just portraits. On Instagram, when I use photos, I tag people, the models and photographers. As I said before, it's the edges, a lot of works. They are really soft. Most of the edges is really soft. There is not so many sharp edges at all. You can do it and the contour lines, outlines, and have some sharper edges for the contrast. I believe it's really beautiful to do that. Just lost some edges, and some edges can be really sharp, but keep it really flat in the beginning. Don't go darkest dark when you start paint, and lightest light. Keep those two values in the end, because it gives you more space to work with the values and expand them. I hope you like this video. Part 3 is coming, and thank you for watching.